if there's a new election, would it put at risk what you all are endeavoring to do?
Well, I hope not. I hope not. We have enough friends over there and the lawyers and judges that I think would encourage us to come and participate in that. In any case, our plans are to go at the end of May and have put this seminar on. And there's tremendous enthusiasm and excitement on our side to do that. And I must say, Angie, in the country of Georgia to receive us and have us over there. Last fall, around Thanksgiving, we had Judge Papashvili, who is the president of their international court, over here through Emory School of Law, visiting, and had a luncheon for him over at Emory. And that was a wonderful, wonderful experience to have he and the other judges come over and participate with us. I want to share something with you, Angie, very much like our country was when it was founded. A lot of these judges are very young. I think you and I have a great past connected with the courts here in the Supreme Court and Court of Appeals here in Georgia. And a lot of careers have been launched as young people come through as clerks. And as you know, I served as reporter of decisions over there since I was 34 years old. And it's wonderful to go back over to these countries and see people who are young and enthusiastic and want to forge this new democracy as they go forward. It's a terribly exciting thing to be a part of.
That's very exciting. Now, you were talking about the resistance. Now, the resistance is primarily from surrounding countries, I would assume.
Well,
because change.
Sure.
You know, anything that involves change is scary for a lot of people because they wonder, okay, what is this going to mean for my country? Are the people going to want the same sort of thing? I mean, if Georgia embraces these new democratic type ideals and all, what is it going to mean for the surrounding countries?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And I want to stay out of the politics of it, Angie, because one of the things we're trying to do is develop this rule of law and the appreciation and the establishment of rule of law. But the political forces over there are not without impact. Right. I think it would be a mistake for any of us involved in this to think that Russia does not have an interest in this. I would hope that we could do this and forge forward with this clearly as an opportunity to develop this country. But I think all of us would be wise to understand that there are differences of opinion in the international arena and within the country itself.
Well, tell us a little bit about the actual seminar. You said it's going to be a 2-day seminar.
Yes.
And what will be involved? I mean, what will you actually teach?
Well, as you know, and you are an expert yourself in this area. One of the things that as you know, is that we would try to say, look, as cases come up from these lower courts where there's been trial by jury, one of the things we have to determine is there a proper composition of the jury? Were these issues presented in a neutral forum? Were there charges to the jury? And you, of course, understand that concept. Charge to the jury is in fact saying to the jury, here is the law in the matter. And we call upon you to determine, as the law is applied to the facts of the case, you must render a decision that applies law to facts.
Exactly.
And that is the foundation of trial by jury. Then how do you bring a case in to an appellate tribunal, which is I'm sure your audience understands, is the review.
Is there a similar system in that there is an appellate court? Is there a Supreme Court of Georgia and an appeals court of Georgia the same way?
Yes.
And they have different jurisdiction the same way that our court has different jurisdiction here?
Yes.
Our appellate courts?
Yes.
Okay.
But the new component part is trial by jury.
Right.
Instead of trial by tribunal.
Right.
And so how do you, as you well know, Angie, there's a whole process to tearing down a case
Oh, exactly.
on review.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, for your viewers, you're more qualified to speak to that than I am. So having Judge Phipps, who as you well know, is a very seasoned veteran of not only trial by jury as a trial judge,
Right.
but also as a reviewing judge on the appellate side. Judge Phipps brings this tremendous knowledge, reservoir of knowledge and wisdom to look at this. And matter of fact, he has developed the outline for the curriculum himself.
Oh, nice.
And then Professor Zwier and I will be divvying up with Judge Phipps the teaching elements of that. Mine is primarily having been a reporter of decisions of the Supreme Court and Court of Appeals of Georgia, is to teach the logistics of it, if you will. How do we move the cases through? What is a reasonable time period to review these cases and render judgment? What is the value of remittitor, and what part does that play in? And as you and I both know, that would be a subject of another.
Now, do they have a similar type job there, a reporter of decisions? Are their opinions put and bound?
No.
Okay.
And let me tell you something that I may have shared with you the last time we were visiting on this program some years ago. I was so honored one time to have listened to a presentation in Washington, D.C. at the United States Supreme Court of some visiting Russian judges at that time. And my counterpart as a reporter of decisions was Frank Wagner. Frank Wagner is the reporter of decisions at the United States Supreme Court. And he was part of the host committee for this delegation. And I never shall forget, we were at a dinner in New Mexico, and he was sharing with me that one of the Russian judges said when he looked at the United States reports, and as you know, Angie, those are the books that house all of the opinions of the courts. He said, "Isn't that wonderful that you have these books that hold the law of the United States?" This was a Russian judge sharing that. Now, isn't that something?
Unbelievably, Scott, our time's all gone. I can't believe how it's flown, but I hope that you'll come back after your trip to Tbilisi to share with us what happened, and also to share with us the support that the country will get going forward after that.
Well, as you know, Angie, it's always a pleasure to come down and be with you anytime, and so if invited, I would love to come back.
Scott Henwood from Hall, Booth, Smith & Slover has been my guest today. He is the chair of the Appellate Practice Group, and we want to thank him for coming down and talking with us on Law and Society today. I am Angie Wright Reeves, and I will see you again next time.